to another episode of the Jarring Science Club. I'm your host, Brenda, and today we're going to be learning about where you can find water on the Earth and the types of water that are found on the Earth. Here's what you need to complete this experiment. Alright, let's get started. Here we are up close, and now we're going to be making a model of the water cycle inside of our jar. The first thing you're going to need to do is put the soil in the bottom. Next, add in your vegetation. If you like, instead of using fake plants like I'm using, you can actually use real plants. You can actually have it grow in its own ecosystem. Next, add your water. You can see at first that the water sinks all the way into the ground and becomes groundwater, but over time, it's going to start the water cycle process. Put your lid tightly on the jar and put your jar in a sunny window. Wait a few days and see what happens inside your jar. Over a period of a few days, you'll start to see condensation form on the top, water droplets up here that will eventually run down the sides of the jar and return back to groundwater, repeating the water cycle in your jar. You can even add a piece of ice in here to show how ice melts slowly over time and also contributes to the water cycle. Here's the science. In today's lesson, we're learning about where water is found on Earth and the types of water that appear on the Earth. In our experiment, we created a model of the water cycle showing the transition between water from In our experiment, we created a model of the Earth's water cycle that shows the transition of water from solid to liquid to gas and then back again. You probably know that there is a lot of water on Earth. In fact, up to 71% of the Earth is water. Most of that water is contained in the oceans and is salt water, and so it's not accessible or usable for humans, but it is home to many of Earth's creatures who depend on that salt water to live and breathe and function. Surface water is water that's found on top of the Earth. This is your oceans, lakes, streams, rivers. Any body of water that you can see on top of the Earth is considered surface water. There's also groundwater, which is water that's under the top layer of the Earth. Over 96% of the water on Earth is salt water. Only 2.5% of the water on Earth is actually fresh water. Most of the fresh water on Earth, 69%, is found in glaciers. 30% of the water is found in groundwater, which is water that's stored under the Earth's crust. Only 1% of fresh water is found in lakes, rivers, and streams. Does that surprise you? I was kind of surprised. You will find water on Earth in all three states of its matter. You'll find it in a gas, you'll find it in a solid, and you'll find it in a liquid state. Frozen water is obviously contained in mountains and snow and glaciers and ice, other cold areas of the world. Liquid water is found in the ocean, lakes, streams, and everywhere that you typically think of where water exists. As a gas, water is up in clouds and water vapor form, and sometimes you can even feel the water vapor when it's very humid and foggy outside. You can feel that wetness on your skin. That's water vapor that is in the air. Water on the Earth is always moving and changing in some way. We call this movement of water between its different stages the water cycle. Water on the surface of the Earth gets warmed by the sun, causing it to evaporate. This process changes the water from a liquid to a vapor and makes it rise up into the atmosphere. When enough water collects in the atmosphere, it turns back into a liquid and falls back down to the Earth as rain. If it gets cold enough, the liquid water or the water vapor will turn into snow and ice. There are 4 stages to the water cycle. The first stage is evaporation, when liquid water turns into water vapor in the sky. The second stage is condensation, when water vapor in the sky turns back into a liquid. When that happens, it falls back to the Earth as precipitation, which is rain or snow or hail or sleet. Finally, as the water falls, it lands in rivers and streams and things like that, which is called the collection process. From there, it then goes back into the evaporation process and the cycle continues. In our model, we made a very small scale version of the water cycle, and we could see even after just a few days how that process could continue even inside of a jar. That's it for today. See you next time.